Over the course of history, people like Christopher Columbus or astronaut Jim Lovell have traveled to faraway places in search of new lands, untold treasures, and adventure. Now, you may not know the name Harry Espenscheid from your grade school textbooks, but this Eagle Scout from Danville, Illinois, also traveled as a young man to places he had never been before, in search of an adventure of a lifetime.
My father's in the insurance business, and he was a good provider. We had a nice home, a better home than I've ever had, a beautiful home. And right on the edge of town, right across from our property was the country, farmland and so forth. So I was into that kind of life early.
Scouting has been a part of Harry's life since he was just 6 years old, and some of his fondest childhood memories are from his pursuit of becoming an Eagle Scout.
I remember the Scoutmaster, Dan Lewis. He was a great guy. Some of the merit badges I had to do required me doing some cooking. I would cook something up at home, then I would rush to his home about 5 blocks away. He would okay it, and eventually I got a merit badge in cooking. But it took a lot of work to get all the badges on my Boy Scout sash.
Once Harry graduated from high school, he made plans to attend college at the prestigious Dartmouth College. He entered Dartmouth as an outdoor sports major and soon was named the head of a canoe club that would travel on the Connecticut River.
We had a nice clubhouse and about 30 canoes. It was quite an activity, and we would go down in the spring and hit the high water in the mountain streams. We went by canoe from Hanover, New Hampshire to Long Island Sound, then down to the Atlantic Ocean. It was an annual event.
Harry eventually graduated from Dartmouth College and soon enrolled in the Graduate School of Business at Harvard, which is a 2-year program. Unfortunately for Harry, 2 years was too long for him. Harry left Danville and boarded a freighter ship bound for France. Traveling by bicycle, Harry and his travel companions rode across England and across the English Channel up to Scotland and Wales and back down to the European mainland. They traveled through Holland and then on to Germany and along the Rhine River. In any other part of history, this would have been a beautiful and exciting trip. But this was during the early stages of World War II, a time when the entire country of Germany was preparing for battle.
This was during the Nazis' time of preparing for the war. It was very unsettling. I had been to Germany before, and this was unpleasant. Lots of marching and a lot of trouble brewing. You could tell there was. Germany had been defeated, beaten badly, and a lot of their territory was taken. So they were preparing to fight to get it back. If you kick a guy hard enough, he's going to come back after you.
With his bicycle strapped to his back, Harry found a pair of skis and continued his adventure up the Bavarian Alps, across to Austria, and down the Alps to Italy. It was the toughest part of his journey thus far, as the passes through the Alps were snowed in.
It was a tough trip because the passes were snowed in. I had to hike a lot. One time I hiked one the entire night when I crossed the Krautsberg Pass. It was snowed in with heavy pack and I spent all night on that pass. I got to Italy after I finally crossed the pass and they arrested me. They thought I was up to no good because they believed nobody would be crazy enough to cross the pass at night. It got me into some trouble.
After Harry was released from jail, he decided to continue his adventure towards the Middle East. It was in Cairo, Egypt, where Harry met a travel companion who would prove to be very valuable.
I met in Cairo a guy named Kaler. He was of German extraction. He grew up in Chile. He had several passports because he was on his way around the world. He spoke about 11 different languages, very intelligent guy. He was a graduate at Heidelberg in Germany and fought in World War I. He was highly educated and great guy. Hardships didn't mean anything to him. So I hooked up with this guy in Cairo. He had an old car in Oakland and we went across the Sinai and went to Jordan.
At this time, the Middle East was largely under British rule, and the British were not well liked. Unfortunately for Harry, he was dressed in clothes that made him look like a British soldier. So with the help of Kaler, who spoke several languages including Arabic, they drove through Jordan and into Palestine. Little did they know, they were driving into a very dangerous situation that almost cost them their lives.
We were in a hotel one night in Palestine, and some of these agitators set fire to the hotel, and we got out just in time. It was very unpleasant, a lot of dissent. We were dressed like a British soldier. We wore British khakis, and a lot of these people came after me throwing stones. They had about 50 people trying to stone me to death, and I ran and got to the gates of Jerusalem. Some British soldiers came out and dispersed the crowd, but it was pretty exciting, and if they had knocked me down with stones, which they were trying to do, I would have been dead.
It took some guts, some luck, and a little bit of deception to get out of Palestine alive.
We had this old car, and we hired an Arab man to drive the car for us. To protect us, he gave us Arab headdresses to wear. It was very dangerous for us to be in Palestine at that time, and the idea was to get us out of that city safely.
They did get out safely, and soon after, Harry and Kaler parted ways. Taking to a bicycle once again, Harry set out towards the east. He crossed the Tiber Pass on his way to India, traveling across mountains that would reach 16,000 feet in elevation. Through India he went until he entered China, then Mongolia, where Harry's life was in jeopardy once again.
We were traveling to another village, and we had some mean guys following us. One of the people we were traveling with had a rifle. And if you had a rifle and the other guy doesn't have one, they will kill you to get it. So these guys were tagging behind us looking for an opening because they saw we had a rifle and they wanted it.
Because the war was just starting, Harry made his way back to the United States where it was safer. In the end, Harry was gone for exactly 2 years to the day on a trip he paid for by writing articles about his adventures for his hometown Danville newspaper. Harry ended up in Jackson Hole, Wyoming, where he became part owner of a ranch where campers could come and ride horses and live the life of a ranch hand in the Western Plains. However, that venture was short-lived because Harry was eligible for the draft. He entered the Navy during the height of World War II and was assigned to an attack cargo ship that would deliver troops and supplies. Harry was there on D-Day when the U.S. attacked Okinawa.
I spent 3 years fighting for our country in World War II. On D-Day, I was right there in Okinawa, Japan, right in the heart of that famous invasion. I really saw the war when we hit Okinawa. It was quite a battle.
When the war ended, Harry and his wife settled back in Jackson Hole, Wyoming, and started their own ranch called the Skyline Ranch. Since Rockford was his wife's hometown, they eventually returned to this area where they became successful business owners of a construction company.
I had to make a living, so I bought a business in Rockford. It was a business on 7th Street called Northwest Construction Company, a big name for a small business. The gentleman I bought it from was building shell houses. You build the outside so it's done, but the inside was stud walls. Just put a roof on it and sell to an ambitious young guy who will finish it up. The first year we built 9 shell homes. The next year we built hundreds. Then we moved. Now we're in 4 states and the company is still going strong.
It's an incredible story of a man who owes a lot of his success to scouting.
You can build confidence, you can build skills, and you can build friendships. It's a great pursuit, very beneficial.